Yeah. Back on the grind, remember the times I'm feeling like Michael. Taking a stand, creating a plan, and beating the cycle. We got a whole lot of work we gotta do. Give me the raw, give me the real, just give me the truth. We start a conversation, then let the world debate it. Breath of fresh air coming through just like ventilation. And no boy, let me tell you about the squad. A dream team, so you know they coming hard. Now first up, let me tell you about Jay. You know he wise, man, that boy got knowledge for days. Check out his mind. Then we got Sean coming through like Thanos, keep him in line. He's a quiet storm, but don't get it twisted, you see the grind. And next up, we gotta talk about Nate. You know she slay. She got the brains and the beauty plus strength to keep him straight. And last but not least, we got Nostradamus. He's the voice of the people, so he'll keep it poppin'. My squad gon' keep it 100, and that's all facts. They're here to spark the conversation. Now you debate that.
Welcome to another episode of Debate That, where we discuss relationships, pop culture, social issues, and much, much more. My name is Jay.
And I'm Nay.
I'm Sean.
Is what we got today.
Today's question is is very broad, kind of a two-parter. Is why did you get married, and what does marriage mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
So who want to start?
Mm-hmm.
Sean, since you had something to say before we started recording, why don't you go ahead and let them know?
I got married because it was something to do.
Not about to stab you, bro.
It was the right thing to do. Let me stop. No. Go ahead, Jay. You've been married the longest. So why did you get married, sir?
So I don't think I was ready to get married when I got married, but the missus hit me. The missus hit me with this question, right? It wasn't really an ultimatum, but in her culture, it's you don't. We were together for a long time before we got married. So in her culture, like when you go around the parents and all that stuff, it's like they're constantly asking, also, when you guys going to get married? When you guys going to get married? Like if I was with my wife at 5 years old, they would have been probably asking, when you guys going to get married? So it in that culture, that's just how it is. But my wife came to me and she was like, we've been together for X amount of years or whatever. And she was like, we need to move to the next level. And then she had said verbatim, she was like, why, how did she put it? Why get the cow if you
can't have the milk?
Yeah. Why buy the cow if you get the milk for free? That's it. Why buy the cow?
Donna said some ish like that too.
Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm.
So I ain't the only one?
So you got married just because she told you it was time to get married?
Because here's yes and no. Yes and no. Because here's the thing. You know, I didn't want to lose my wife or my girlfriend at the time. And then she was like, we need to do this, or well, she didn't say, I'm leaving, but she was like, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? I get it. I mean, I understand what she was saying. So then, we ended up getting married after that, but I wasn't ready to get married, nor do I think she was ready to get married. I just think that was the thing to do if you're together for a certain period of time, if that makes sense.
Were y'all living together?
Yeah.
So y'all were a cohabitating couple.
Man, you sound Dr. Umar Johnson over here.
Hey, my last name is Johnson.
Oh, that's a fact.
Hey, y'all cohabitated. Y'all could have. I used to, work at the resort at Westgate back with, the wife of yours.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all could have at least qualified for a tour.
Oh, that's what it is.
Y'all could have qualified for a tour.
But we ended up getting married, and we had our ups and downs, and a lot of it was me. So I had to figure some things out and get to a certain point.
So what about you, Miss Nay?
Got married because I loved him. That's why. I loved him. Period. That's it.
That's all that matters?
That's it. At the time, that's all that mattered. At the time, that is all that mattered. I loved him. He was like, look, I lost you once, I'm not losing you again. Let's get married. And I was like, huh? Okay. Period. Like, all the signs before me that it wasn't the right time. But I did it anyways because I loved him. That's it. There's no other reason. I was never the girl that said, I want to get married and have kids. And I was never that girl. Never that girl. Ever, ever, ever. But the one person that I saw myself, that I could see myself with for the rest of my life was married love. That's it. I ain't thinking about nothing else. I love
Sean,
him.
what does marriage mean?
Okay, yes.
You said what?
I
What
love
does
him.
marriage
He wants
mean?
to marry me. Okay, yes. Like, that's it. Whatever you want, you'll get it.
Okay.
And that is,
So
I know now that that is not the wisest direction to go. Because
that's a whole nother.
it has to take more than love to cultivate a marriage. It's more than love.
You can hear us, right, Nay?
Huh?
You can hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure. We was just checking. Anyway. No, we get it. Sean, what about you?
Mine is similar to yours. I mean, I started cohabitating, eventually, but I got tired of running them streets. Let me stop. I wasn't even in the streets like that, like I should have been. But, I guess when you meet the one, you know what I mean? But she gave me that same thing. She even went as far as no ringy, no dingy. How about that? Oh, that's the fact, though. So I was like, but no, I mean, at the end of the day, she was cool, and for me, like I said, it's the right thing to do, especially if you find, somebody you compatible with, you starting to build stuff together with, when it comes down to, like I said, you start cohabitating. So now it's not just individually, everything is kind of coming together as one. And yeah, I think it was a very important piece. You still have ups and downs, like you said, you have ups and downs to this day. And I would say as I get older, I start kind of realizing more importance of, what marriage actually means. You know what I mean?
So, do you think that the method that they used to get married was beneficial? Like, did it? it got them what they wanted, but was it actually what needed to be done?
Wait, the
Trap
method that he
queens.
used.
The method that both of the young women used, because both of our wives used the same method, basically.
Track queens. that fatty wop.
I think at the time, y'all got a different story than I do.
Yeah, and
Y'all
I
got a
forgot
different
to.
story than I do.
So, Nostradamus, what is your take on marriage? Because you're also part of the clique.
I think you should get married for the party and the gifts. Honestly, you can't beat it.
For what?
What if they broke?
Oh No, you just got to make sure you don't invite broke people to your party, to your reception. Now, on the real. So
I can't say you.
I got married because for me, I felt like, the bond that I had with my wife, it was time for us to get married. And
Same.
it was just, I was ready. At the end of the day, you two things is you got to be ready, and it has to be the right time, because if it's not, that marriage is going to be a lot more difficult than what it needs to be.
Correct. That's right.
Spoken from
True genius.
yeah. Spoken from true experience. But
Sean had said, what Sean said was he started to see that marriage means something else, like as he got into it. So what is that? Like, what does marriage mean? Like,
No, I
did
said
you see something before and after?
Well, no, I'm saying that you mean I see, how important, at least for me, the build of that relationship. It's easy in the beginning, but once you start hitting them trials and tribulations, you get a different perspective when you can make it through. But I'm also grateful for the fact that, look, like you, Jay, my wife comes from a different culture, from Africa. So a brother, if I was back in Africa, would have had to pay dowry. And I ain't got no cows and goats and stuff like that to give to ask for a hand in marriage. But, hey, they be asking for that bread. So, I'm forever grateful that everything worked out the way it did. But, of course, yeah, different cultures rock different ways. And, yeah, you got to pay to take that woman away from her family.
Nay, how do you feel about that whole dowry concept?
About the who concept?
The dowry, like what Sean just said, and if he was back in Africa, he would have had to, give. It's like giving gifts. Like, what do you have to give to the woman's parents?
Listen, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's in Africa, then you'd have to do that. We are in America, so you ain't got to do that. Hey, if that's what you had to do, then that's what you got to do.
Man, that's some bullshit.
Hey, that's the culture, bruh.
I understand is the culture, but for me, when I see that, it's like to me that's like marital slavery, because I'm essentially paying for your daughter. I have to give you some assets in order to receive your daughter, and she should be allowed to marry or do whatever she want to do without me having to give you something in return. That's why I don't like that concept.
Well, let me look at it from another angle.
But in America, you buying an engagement ring to propose to your woman, right?
Yeah,
but that goes to her. That doesn't go to her parents.
No, but you got to think, if you got a child that you are raising that's in your home, that also is helping you with cooking, with cleaning, with all of that stuff. And like I said, it's almost like you're taking a piece away, because from that point, that wife is basically is yours. You know what I mean? It's obviously it ain't a commodity or a piece of whatever, but you know what I mean? Once you say, no, I do. Yeah. She's yours. You know what I mean? So at that point,
I don't know much about the traditions, but I think that, like, coming from what you're saying and what I'm hearing, the culture. Okay, so culturally, right? Here in America, typically, we reach 18, we quick to leave our parents' house, quick to do our own thing, our own place. And in other countries, overseas, you don't see that. You don't see the quickness to get out. everyone works together, sticks together, cultivates together, grows together until someone comes and wants to marry the woman or whatever, or it's time for the male son to go and find his wife. It's just, it's different. That's why I said, when in Rome, as Romans do. We ain't doing that here, but that's what they're doing there. So, hey, if that's how it is, that's how it is.
I do know one of the benefits, not even a benefit, but I do know like that dowry is supposed to also make the parents feel secure that the man can support their daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So from that aspect, I get it. Is, you know, and sometimes, you know, whatever you end up giving to your wife's parents, they end up giving back to you or to your kids some way later on down the line.
Just a good way to look at it.
It's called an investment.
Basically.
you're gonna put the money over there or whatever you're gonna give to them, right? To let them know that, yeah, I can take care of your daughter. And then it pays dividends later when you take care of your responsibilities and I guess do what you need to do. I mean, it makes sense to me, actually. So, I mean, I get it. It's in America.
I get it.
It's a little different.
No, I get it. I get it too.
So, what does marriage mean to you? When you hear the word marriage, what comes to mind?
Commitment. Commitment, life partner.
Now, with the experience that I've had, the knowledge that I've grown, the wisdom that I've grown from others' experiences, I think he said the meaning of marriage to me, I think that it is for the sanctification of woman, man, wife, and husband. Period.
To me, I'm going with when I hear marriage and what it means to me is partnership. One, because you know you guys are coming together, is partnership. I'm going to have to agree with Sean in the commitment because you're making a commitment to another individual. Also, accountability and responsibility. So now I'm taking on this responsibility to take care of this family, and my wife is taking on the responsibility to take care of this family in different ways, but to take care of the family nonetheless. Right. And the accountability part is when you have your ceremony, you have that person there that's their witness, right? This person that's going to hold you accountable for your marriage. So when you have people that are in your circle that believe in your marriage, right, or believe in the constitution of marriage, right, then they're going to hold you accountable as they should. So
Correct.
if I go to Sean crib and I'm like, yo, my wife getting on my nerves, whatever, and then we can sit there and talk about it because what he wants is what he wants, what's best for the marriage. Like the same thing. If he was talking to me about something, then I would give him advice, you know, what's best for the marriage. You know,
Iron sharpen iron.
Nam and I have had conversations and he always gives me advice, you know, on what's best for the marriage.
Not for the individual.
Not for the individual. So those people are holding you accountable. That's where the accountability part comes in. So they're holding me accountable to make sure I take care of my responsibility and keep my commitment to my partner in that partnership. I mean, that's what it is to me.
When I hear the word marriage, I hear commitment, but I also hear one person for the rest of my life. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it all depends on the individual.
Word. That could be a toss-up.
It depends.
That's what I'm saying. I think it depends on the individual. It could be a bad thing too.
Well, then you're not ready for marriage.
Then what's the bad thing? What's the bad thing?
The bad thing is that you can't get no new booty.
You're not ready for marriage.
Look,
you better practice polygamy then.
You know the saying is what's the saying? Ain't no better booty than new booty.
Nah, I can't agree.
Then you're gonna be looking for that old thing back.
Because I like my live-in booty. Okay, if that's what you want to call it, I like my live-in booty. For me, and don't be talking trash, because last time I said something about my wife, and then you was like, "Oh, what'd you do? Get in trouble?" Because you over here singing or whatever you said. But anyway, for me, my wife, I love my wife more now than I did in the beginning. If that
was my point I was making.
And it's not that I didn't love my wife in the beginning. It's just as time went on, she gave me kids, right? She held me down through all kinds of situations, right? And then it got to more about, oh my God, my wife got a big booty or this, that, or the third, right? It got away from that more so here it is. I no longer love my wife because of what she does. I love my wife because who she is. So regardless of what happens, regardless of what happens, if we split or whatever it may be, I'm still gonna love my wife. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. That's why you got them foot rubbing Sundays. This nigga be extra over here.
But I'll be like, yo, you wanna do the foot rub and I'm gonna do it later on in the week, and I don't say nothing, man. He was like, because it ain't gonna never happen. Like, I'm trying to give you your day, your spa day, and she ain't taking it.
Better have that baby oil ready or that coconut oil.
Man, she be around here glistening with that baby oil. You can fall.
Body on body.
So you said, you loved your wife, and then it ended up being for not what she does, but for who she is. So how do you know when somebody is the one for you to marry?
That's a great question. Nay, go ahead.
Okay, so I don't think there's a one. I just don't think there's a one word answer. Like, this is not a one way answer for that. How do you know?
It's not.
A lot of times we don't get married for the right reasons. We're not ready for marriage. It's through that marriage, if you're doing things in an orderly way, and I'm going to use that word, orderly way, then you kind of get to that point. But at the beginning, most of the time, people, especially nowadays, people aren't getting married for, or even know why they're getting married. Or what was the question you said?
How do you know somebody is Neo? How do you know that they're the one?
Exactly. People don't know if they're the one. They just assuming, oh, she's beautiful and she does this and she does that, or oh man, he's great. He could put it down. He loyal. He ain't showing me he ain't beating me. He ain't cursing at me. So let me just get married.
So
and
what?
People aren't really seeing marriage for its true purpose. People missing the mark. They're missing the purpose. Marriage, the word is just thrown around loosely, just like me saying hi. It's just all kind of spaghetti O's.
So I mean, when you're looking at marriage and people, I think people are in love with the idea and don't really understand the work and the blood, sweat, and tears you got to put into this thing. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not rewarding at the end. It's like anything else. You go to school.
Oh, it truly is. It's hard work, though.
You got to bust your behind to get your degree, and then once you get it, it's rewarding. But there are days when you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do this, or man, this is just too much. I need a break. or so forth and so on. But at the end, it's rewarding. When you get to certain levels in your marriage, it's rewarding.
I
agree.
think that if you were to verbalize a way to explain if someone was right for you in marriage, and you mean as each individual, because I think everybody's right is going to be different. But I think it kind of lines up for me. It lines up with what you said, Peanut. Like Jason.
It don't matter.
At the point where you truly love that person for who they are, not what they're doing, like, which means that they can get on the very last bit of your nerves. They might do things that just disgust you, but on a whole picture, like, you look at this person and with all the things that you can pick out that you might not like, you put them all together in a pot and you just see this amazing masterpiece. Like, there's a masterpiece. Like, I got imagery for y'all. You see this? You see this, right? This is my imagery. You take this artwork, this beautiful artwork, and look at all the muddy colors and how everything just kind of slapped on there, right? There's so many different brush strokes. There's so many different, if you touch it, there's different textures. There's different textures. But this piece is so beautiful on a whole. When you mix all of what this artist did to create this, it's a beautiful masterpiece. If you took everything apart, it would be so messy and probably muddy and dirty. So if you can look at an individual and see the end, or see something more than just like the elements separated, and you love that person for the whole that you see, then yes, I think that at that point you have the willingness to work, and there's nothing that's gonna pull you away from working.
I think it's simple how to know whether somebody's the one or not, right? The short answer is you have to know yourself.
Okay. Oh, he might not.
Okay.
Hold up.
You have to know yourself. And when you know yourself, that means you have to know what your deal breakers are. That tells you, I don't want to be with this person because I can't deal with that. And you have to know the stuff that, so those deal breakers, I call them red flags, right?
Right.
If you know those are red flags of yours, you got to look at them. The other thing is you also have to know yourself by knowing what are the stuff that you can deal with, that you can possibly work with. Okay. So outside of knowing your red flags, it's not good enough to only know your red flags, but you have to know your green flags too, which means you can't only just know that I don't want that, but you also have to know that I want this. Meaning, if you want somebody who can communicate, that's your green flag. You have to tell yourself you want somebody who knows how to communicate. So to me, it's very simple. Right. You have to know what your red flags are to cancel out the ones that you don't want to marry, and then you just bust down from time to time, and then you got to know what your green flags are, so that way you know when somebody meets those green flags, that's the one that you want to marry. So to me, it's very simple in terms of how do you know somebody's the one? Is because you know yourself and you know what your red flags are and your green flags are, and when somebody checks those green flags for you, then they should be the one.
Look at this ninja spitting facts.
I got one thing to add to that, and then I got a question for Mr. Sean. So I was just talking to my brother today. We was having a conversation, and I was talking to him about so I said, if you're single and you're looking for a particular woman, to Nostradamus' point, you know what you want and you know what you don't want. But on the flip side of that, the woman that you're looking for, do you guys think that you need to know what that type of woman wants in order for you to attract that type of woman? and or man?
I think so. I mean, hell.
I think at the beginning of stages, you gotta just communicate those things.
Yeah, it's kind of, you can kind of see. I don't know how to even explain it, but you can kind of, feel the attraction. You kind of know what you're dealing with or what you're trying to get into based upon what you're looking for. You know what I mean? And if you're, like I say, you can't be, how can I put it? You can't be a person that really ain't got their stuff together. And like I say, you over here looking at a lawyer. You know what I mean? Somebody who got their own practice, who got all their stuff together. You know what I mean? It's just not going to click. And I don't know if I'm answering your question properly, but I know what you're aiming at, and I just don't know how to word it.
I don't think it's a matter of knowing what that person wants. I think it's really a matter of just you becoming the best version of yourself. You're going to attract something. You know what I mean? Because the way I feel about it is, for example, if I know the type of man Nay wants, right? Mm-hmm. And I become that man, I'm doing that out of false hope, thinking that she's going to be attracted to me. And you're becoming somebody who you might not really be. So you're becoming a false person.
Nah. You're becoming, you're not. So if you're looking for a certain type of woman, right? Mm-hmm. And these women typically want this. If you have a college educated woman, right, who makes a certain amount of money in a certain range, she wants a certain type of man. So in order for you to get that certain type of woman, you have to be that certain type of man to attract that type of woman. So we're not trying to attract Nay, we're trying to attract that type of woman.
I agree.
If that makes sense. So you know this particular group, you got to know your audience.
And that's not in marriage neither.
It's actually, that's
in everything. Yeah, that's in everything though. That's not just marriage.
I know who my audience is, and so I know what I want. And in order for me to get what I want, I have to understand what that audience wants. So I can be able to I can step in that arena to even be able to talk to these women.
Correct.
I
don't agree with that.
That's what I was saying at the beginning. Like there are, like from what you're saying, Jay, like those type of things you do have to communicate. I think it's important to communicate those because, like, in the dating world, I meet somebody and we're having a simple phone conversation. Those are things that we're going to talk about at the beginning. And then I'm going to like gauge to see, well, you know what, am I going to call this dude again? Or am I going to am I going to continue this? Does it make sense to continue it? I think Namshadamas, from the perspective that you're looking at it from with the question, it's more so like, as like on the level of individuality, like character.
No, not even like, so to his example, let's say, women like men who could cook, right? Mm-hmm. And if I know my audience and I know the women that I want to attract want men who can cook, I'm going to go learn how to cook. But what if that's something I really despise doing and I learn it anyways just to attract these women, right? When I get them and then they see that I don't really like it, it's going to set up a failed relationship, a failed marriage. My thing is, be who you want to be. Somebody's going to like you for who you are, your flaws and your perfections. And that person is going to be the one specifically geared for you without you having to make yourself something just to attract a specific kind of woman.
Now, I just thought about something. What you're saying that with him saying that, I think I just I thought about the movie, of course, Think Like a Man, right? When you had homegirl Taraji who was dating an inspiring cook, since you mentioned cooking. So it made me think of that situation. Now, I must say I have to agree for the most part with Nostradamus. Just because if you are true to yourself, depending on, you really ain't gonna know who you're attracting and what you're attracting until you open up your mouth and y'all start talking and seeing, what's your inspirations, what you're into, all of that stuff, through communication. You can't really assume, a person's, wants and, different things that they're desiring unless you start talking. But if you are true to yourself, you might have a successful person, a woman or a man that might not care whether you have your own practice or you making either the equal or same amount, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? You might be able to fill other voids just based off of who you are as a person, to where they like, shit, I don't care about the money aspect of it or what you're doing as far as career-wise. I got that part, but I love the way you love me. I love the way you appreciate me. I love the way you fill this void in my life. You know what I mean? So I think it can kind of go hand in hand. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't think it's you do want to make sure you know your audience. That's for sure. Because at that, you only got one chance to really put your best foot forward.
I got another example. When you go to college, right? A lot of dudes start working out because they feel like if they get fit, buff, have muscles, six pack, they could get the girl they want. So they know their audience because they know girls want, buff men or whatever in college. You know what I mean? So they getting buff, they getting right, they smashing all these fools, right? But after college, they let themselves go and they become nasty. You know what I mean? So them becoming that buff dude in college wasn't really who they were. So you becoming somebody you're not just for the moment.
It's not becoming somebody you're not.
Like, no, I don't think so.
It's not becoming somebody you're not. Like if you don't like to cook, don't cook.
True.
But then you're not going to attract the women that want men to cook, who you might want to attract.
Then you have something else that you do. Look, I don't cook, but I don't got no problem going to buy some food or whatever.
That's when it becomes you being you.
Work. If you're not cool with that, this ain't gonna work.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I'm feeling too. Like I feel like cooking. The cooking example. He went and learned to cook. That's what you said, Nostradamus, right? But he absolutely despises it. That's his internal feeling about the action thereof. That's gonna show. Like
you can't keep it up that long.
It's like if you don't like doing something or if you don't like something, that's gonna show. And I don't think it's false security. He's seen that this girl that he likes a man that cooks. He went and tried and did it, but he realized look, I went and tried to learn to cook. I wanted to impress you, but this is really not my thing. And that's up to her to say, I really want a chef, and since you're not a chef, doodles, bye. Or it's like, you try to learn to cook to impress me, like really? And then that might spark something else. I just think that is different than a person's character. That's two different entities.
It is one thing to learn something or try something when you know somebody you're talking to is interested in that, versus knowing your audience and just saying, in order for me to attract that type of woman, I have to do this.
So we're not talking about doing this. We're talking about, first off, if you
then I have to be this way. It's not about doing that. Well, then I have to be this way. Maybe you want to attract women that shows affection, but you don't like giving hugs, but you're just going to, show affection or try to make yourself be the affectionate type just to attract women that, that's going to give you affection. Like, that's false to me.
Look, now what I'm saying is there's if you're going to go after a certain type of individual, there's certain things that you have to get in line. Like Donna, like when we're talking about our wives and stuff, like my wife met me in high school. So we did a lot of growing up together, right? But my wife got 80 degrees, right? So it will probably be a little bit tougher for me to try to approach my wife now, seeing as though I'm getting my first one, but not having that before, because she might look at that as, I don't know if
He's dedicated.
So I know if I want to deal with these type of women, then, you know, I might need to be a little bit more educated or something like that. Not to say that I'm not educated, but I may have to step it up a little bit. So and then when you're talking about certain things these group of women want, if you want that type of woman.
And what I'm saying is that there's gonna be a woman that has 80 degrees that don't care about that, and she's gonna be the one for you if you don't have a degree. Don't go out to get a degree to try to attract those women.
You're not, dude. You just, it's like if you want a certain job, dude, you got to prepare for the job.
I think it goes both ways, though. I mean, it's rare, but it goes both ways.
You have to get ready for that job. So if you want to go be a financial analyst, you can't be out here slinging concrete. It's not going to work. If you want that type of job, then you have to prepare yourself for that. It doesn't mean that you got to do everything in that financial arena that a financial analyst may do. You may specialize in something else.
I think that's a flawed comparison, though. I think that's a bad analogy to compare a relationship or marriage to a job. It
doesn't matter because people are. It's still a sale.
Yeah, but you could get the work done in terms of being in a relationship and a marriage without having, you know, certain experiences. But at a job, if you don't have certain experiences, you ain't gonna be able to get certain things done, you know, depending on the job. You know,
if you don't have experience in a relationship, then somebody may be like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with that.
That's true. But at the same time, you're not changing who you are just to get that experience. You're going to find somebody who can deal with your experience.
Nobody's changing who you just said to be the best version of yourself. So go do it and be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, but if the best version of yourself isn't somebody who goes to the gym, but you're doing that just to get fools, then that's being fake.
If you don't like going to the gym, then don't go to the gym.
And then you could possibly still attract somebody that might want somebody to go to the gym.
If you don't want to go to the gym, then don't go to the gym. We're not talking about getting strong. We're talking about characteristics that you have. We're talking about
character.
We're talking about things that an individual may want. Not you don't. If you don't like to cook, don't cook. Then the people that want somebody who's going to cook, well, they're out of the equation. But you still have to prepare yourself for this group. Now, there may be women that don't care about none of that, and you don't care about none of that. That's for you. But for certain groups of people, would you date?
That's why I say I go both ways. It's not a one way.
Would you date a woman that wasn't doing anything with her life?
So it all depends, though, because you can see a woman who's not doing anything with her life, but maybe you come into the picture and it might give her some kind of inspiration to do something with her life.
But you can't go into a relationship thinking you're going to change somebody.
No, not about changing somebody. But I'm just saying, like, that's why I said it goes both ways. Yes, you have to know your audience. Yes, you need to understand and know, like I said, when it comes to communication, I mean, the different aspirations that a person has and what that person is looking for. Now, you can fake the funk all you want. You know what I mean? To say, oh, well, like you said, cooking, working out in the gym, whatever the case may be. There is a line there where, yes, you have to be the best you can be. And at that point, you also need to make sure you present yourself the right way. But I see what you're saying, Jay. I'm not going to fake the funk to only get so far, because at the end of the day, like I said, and like Nate said, it's going to show. You only can hold it for so long. So if it's not something that you like, you don't like cleaning, you don't like cooking, you know what I mean? You don't like, hygiene. Eventually, you're going to get tired of going.
You ain't going to have no relationship. Nigga. You about to be single and stay.
But I'm just saying, though, some people don't care about their hair. Some people care about their hair to the max. But at the end of the day, you might be like, I'm gonna get fly for her. You know what I mean? I'm about to hit these streets, so let me see what I can catch. Little do they know, you might get one every 3 months. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you're gonna put your best foot forward to see what you can catch, throw your net out there. But like I said, you only can fake the funk for so long. But yes, you do have to be the best you can be. And yeah, don't nobody want no one with no kind of aspiration.
Nah, I would date I would date a woman that ain't got nothing going on.
You would?
Hell yeah.
So why you ain't with one right now? That ain't got nothing going on.
Here we go. What's in your trick bag? Why you gonna date a woman that ain't got nothing going on?
Because I know she ain't going nowhere. She gonna be my what's that Ja Rule and Charlie Baltimore song? Down ass bitch. She ain't going nowhere.
Why you ain't married?
I think I said it in another episode of ours. If you guys don't know, I said something about having a woman with low self-esteem. You know they ain't going nowhere.
That's a fact, though.
Bull like that. You did say some bull like that.
So you gonna keep her there with low self-esteem?
Well, guess what? Hold on. No.
The low self-esteem is her issue.
Yes, I was going to say that. Yes, that's her issue. So guess what? But you got some out there who willing to ride with that and say, you know what? Low self-esteem. Okay. Nostradamus said he'll wife one up. Fine. Now, I mean, he can go out, do whatever he want, smash whatever he want. He knows she ain't going nowhere. Because why? Her self-esteem so low that she know that for her, she feels that's the best thing she got. That's the only thing she got. So, yeah. I mean,
and guess what's gonna happen with something like that? There's gonna be another man when he out doing his thing with all kind of different girls, and she's stuck in the house with her low self-esteem. There's gonna be some other man that recognizes her when she went to the grocery store to get stuff for dinner, and that other man is gonna start whispering in her ear and telling her how beautiful she is, and start telling her all the things that she needed to hear from her man that wanted to keep her a slave in the house and hold her hostage. And then eventually she's gonna gain her self-esteem, Nostradamus, and then she's gonna up and leave you behind with all the other nasty girls that you was around home with. Now,
yeah, but you know what happens though? She gonna go with that dude, right? When they break up, because they will break up, she gonna come back to the guy who accepted her for who she was.
So why you didn't marry a woman with low self-esteem?
Hey, I didn't. The question was, would you marry somebody? The question was, would you date somebody?
Well, why you ain't dating somebody with low self-esteem?
Because I'm married to somebody who doesn't have low self-esteem. Why would I date somebody with low self-esteem when I'm married?
All right, man. Look, I'm going to the next question.
This dude be talking about bull.
So here's a question I have before yours, Jay. Here's a question. How do you know when it's time for you to get married? Like, how did you know that you were ready for marriage?
Who, me? How did I know?
All of y'all.
In the beginning. I told you in the beginning I wasn't ready to get married. But so the question for me is not why did I get married, it's why did I stay married? That's the question for me.
Look at him.
Because once I understood why I got married and so it's not my wife, but it was under false pretenses. When I go back and look at the relationships and marriages in my family, there's my aunt that's been married, her husband died, she got remarried, and then there's my mom and my dad, but they ended up getting a divorce, right? So in my head, I didn't have any examples of what a marriage looks like. So I'm afraid of marriage. But what I had to understand is you got to go on this thing. You got to make your mistakes. You got to keep it moving, and you learn from that. Is what I had to learn during that process. So it's no longer why did I get married? It is why did I stay married? And the reason why I stayed married is because when I started to understand what the commitment piece was and what the accountability piece was and what the responsibility piece was, and then I started to see my wife completely different than she's this, and this, and just this is her. This is who she is. And so though I want my wife to always be better, and my wife always want me to be better, right? Because I want that. It's a partnership here, and we can work together to get things done. But at the same time, I want to see her be the best version of herself. So it's you get to a point where you become selfless, and you just want to see the other person happy.
That's the magic word.
And when I got to that point and I started to understand that, then I stayed married, because when I realized this woman does love me, it may not look how it did in my family, but she loves me the way she knows how, and she's trying. I can deal with that. And I'm sure, I don't know what it is for her, but for me, I can deal with that. And besides that, she gave me some beautiful kids, and she tries to do what she can. So
I talked to somebody before, and they told me they knew it was time to get married when they didn't have the urge to step out on the person anymore.
Really?
Meaning, like, they would ask themselves, if you had the opportunity to cheat on this person, and this person would never find out, no one would know, and they would never find out, would you cheat on that person? And as long as they felt like that answer was yes, I would still cheat on that person, then it wasn't time for them to get married. When their answer was no, if I had the opportunity to cheat and I would never get caught, would I still do it? When they said no, that's when they knew it was time for them to get married.
So then what's in that way of thinking? What contributes to that person saying no?
For them, I don't, maybe selflessness is like the easiest answer, but I think for that person, it was just a matter of them not wanting to actually cheat on his wife when he got married. So when he knew he would not cheat on his wife, it was time to get married.
That's interesting.
I think.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna say, I think like that's like pure sacrifice, selflessness to its best. You're not thinking of self. If you're saying that, and just because of the question,
go ahead.
Y'all hear that ringing? Y'all heard that ringing? Okay. You're saying, and we're speaking specifically to this scenario. An individual has the opportunity to cheat. The person will not find out. Nobody will ever know. It's like you could take it to your grave. Therefore, you can continue to move on with your life, and nothing will happen. You just do what you do and then go back to normal, right? And you have the opportunity to say, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to ride that wave real quick, take this adventure, or say no. Because this particular individual, I wholeheartedly love them, and I don't want to hurt them, because with cheating comes being hurt, right? You don't want to hurt this individual. At this point, you're answering no, you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about the other person. You're thinking about that individual that you love, that you care about, that you're willing to sacrifice yourself for, to say no. So ultimately, that is selflessness.
Yeah. It comes down to being selfless. And when you get to, I guess when you get to a point where where you choose to be selfless for this individual, then it's like, okay, now I think I can step into the next level. Because as long as I'm selfish, then it's not going to work, because I'm looking out. I'm looking in the best interest for me instead of the best interest for the other person.
Correct. So you're not ready.
And the best interest of the other person for the overall greater good of the marriage.
But as you get married, are you losing your individuality?
So no, you still have an identity. You still you. So if you want to take it to you still have your identity and who you are. If you like to, if you like to go hoop when you get married, it doesn't mean that you can no longer hoop. It's just you still like to hoop. So you still have the things that you like to do. She still has the things that she likes to do. She should still be able to be her person. But when it comes to like doing things together, that, you know, that's a little bit different.
I think
Facts.
that you still have your individuality, but now you have to take two individualities and make them one. And the willingness to do that is ultimately created with being selfless.
True.
So what about this?
I don't think you have to lose yourself at all, because again, that person, you love that person for who they are, right? The selflessness comes in, and vice versa. So each of you guys are being as individuals, you're selfless towards this other individual. Now we're going to come together with our selflessness and make it one. You're going to mash it all together, intertwine it, and you're going to be one. I think the goal create a one individual. Like, you're taking two different identities and you're going to create a oneness between the two.
True.
So creating this oneness, right? When you're creating this oneness, what is it that you're creating? Because what if one person likes to go running? I don't like to run, right?
Yes, you do.
And that's I do like to run, but this is
that's a bad example.
That's okay.
But that's just because you know. Okay, she likes to run. I don't like to run, right? But how do you put that oneness together? Because in certain things, that's your thing. Go ahead.
So really, all right. The answer to that would be, I know that my dude likes to run. So he, in the morning times when he goes running, I'm going to allow him to have that time to go run. There is not, like, if it means that I am overwhelmed with getting the kids ready for school or fixing breakfast, that is his time. He likes to run. I'm not going to interrupt his running time. I think, again, that's where that selflessness comes in. And I might not like to run.
That sounds like a perfect world right there.
That's a lie, right? Right?
Yeah.
I might. My morning runs are very important to me.
I don't run, and this is the damn truth. I run when I have to. Only if I'm playing
but still,
a sport.
like, you know, that's where that selflessness come in. Like, I don't think you need to. I don't think those kind of things, your likes and dislikes, I guess, need to fully change. Certain things can evolve in you being selfless for the other person. Like, you know, you might get a girl who loves to go to the club and get mashed up every single weekend, but her dude does not like that for her. And she recognizes, like, he don't like that for me because for good reasons. So I'm going to learn to calm down that inner club beast. Like, again, those are the sacrifices because of selflessness.
Okay, here's the thing. There's a group of dudes out here that can't stand those eyelashes. Right?
They look like lamb chop.
Yeah, the snuffleupagus eyelashes, right?
The lamb chop eyelashes.
Can't stand those eyelashes, right? So if the guy that you want, right, or that type of dude that you want don't like those eyelashes, then you're gonna have to make a decision. Is that becoming another person?
Yes.
If the guy that you want don't like the eyelashes, wait.
The guys that you want, that group doesn't like those eyelashes. Do you get rid of the eyelashes? And is that becoming somebody else? Because in my head, to put the eyelashes on, you're becoming somebody else. But
okay, see,
getting rid of the
okay, all right.
is becoming somebody else because I want this type of man, but these guys don't like these eyelashes. So do you get rid of them, or do you say?
If you like wearing those eyelashes, and you're sacrificing wearing those eyelashes because somebody you're interested in don't like those eyelashes, you're becoming somebody who you are not.
These group of men.
Okay, if you like wearing eyelashes,
you want that group of men.
If you like wearing eyelashes, and you're willing to not wear those eyelashes to attract a certain group of men, you're changing who you really are because you truly want to wear those, but you just like, I'm not going to wear it just to attract those men.
Because like it's kind of like if you want to go into like a certain type of club, right? But you ain't y'all dudes can't wear sneakers in there. That club that you want to go to that weekend, you're not gonna wear sneakers. Like I don't.
That's not true. That's not true. It's been plenty of clubs I walked away from because they said, you got sneakers on, you can't come in. And they're like, oh, just go change shoes, go put some hard bottom. I'm like, nah, I'm good. If I can't wear sneakers, I ain't going in.
You ain't going all the way home and coming all the way back. But that makes sense though. Like, okay.
You don't care about going to that club. That's not the club. You whatever. I don't want to go to that club.
I don't want to change to do something is the point.
So just to let y'all know, we about to have a part 2. We couldn't put all this out there for y'all. It's too much good stuff. So we need y'all to hang on and wait for the next one. But what we got so far, man, y'all talk amongst yourselves, with y'all partner, with y'all friends, and let us know what you think. Now y'all go debate that.
Back on the grind, remember the times I'm feeling like Michael. Taking a stand, creating a plan, and beating the cycle. We got a whole lot of what we gotta do. Give me the raw, give me the real, just give me the truth. We start a conversation, then let the world debate it. Breath of fresh air coming through just like ventilation. And no boy, let me tell you about the squad. A dream team, so you know they coming hard. Now first up, let me tell you about Jay. You know he wise, man, that boy got knowledge for days. Check out his mind. Then we got Sean coming through like Thanos, keep him in line. He's a quiet storm, but don't get it twisted, you see the grind. And next up, we gotta talk about Nate. You know she slay. She got the brains and the beauty plus strength to keep him straight. And last but not least, we got Nostradamus. He's the voice of the people, so he'll keep it poppin'. My squad gon' keep it 100, and that's all facts. They're here to spark the conversation. Now you debate that.